ways are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm gonna live inside the upside down for a minute and pretend, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, and if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to see, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a, yeah.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. We're searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Time I already have for myself is kind of weird.
What time was it that
you
you
know-
woke up today?
So I usually like to wake up 2 hours before, just so I have prep time, and just in case I miss my first alarm. So I woke up at 2 a.m.
Ooh.
and our first games were 4 a.m. my time. So yeah, it used to be better at 3 a.m. wake up call, 5 a.m.
stop
actual
complaining.
start, but
Stop
you know,
complaining.
it's
It's not that early, John. 2 a.m.
not
come
that
on.
early at all. Yeah,
Who doesn't wake up
It's
at 2
nothing.
a.m.? We're all
Right?
gamers,
Yeah,
John.
who-
We're all up at 2 a.m. All of us.
exactly it. Still, you know, we've got a really good matchup here. Simply TOOBASED against EgoBoys. Very important for both sides. EgoBoys will want to secure a 2-0 win. That should bring them up to third place, I believe I was told by Nina, our admin, who keeps the table up to date. He told me that if EgoBoys do win 2-0, they are guaranteed third as they have a win over Noping. So that just guarantees them a slot there already for the playoffs. TOOBASED need 3 points to get tiebreakers going. Ideally, they'd want to go beyond that. So we're looking at 2 series left, including this one. For TOOBASED, they need to find 2-0 wins, or at least one 2-0 win in one of these 2 series. So they need to find a win, at least a draw. If they lose 0-2, that might mean they're out. So really important for both sides going into the playoffs here. We'll have to see how TOOBASED play. They do have the opening here, Nyx and Timbersaw for TOOBASED. So it's the Monkeys Forever Timbersaw, his special. They immediately go into that favorite pick. EgoBoys, though, have the Rubik and Beastmaster to kind of counteract. So they've got the Roar to hold the Timbersaw. They've got the Rubik left to play with. They have some good spells to steal from the Nyx and Timbersaw as well. So it's a bit of a back and forth, but TOOBASED just want to go into it confidently, having this comfort pick for Monkeys. We've seen him perform amazingly on the Timbersaw. We'll see if he can get that done here today.
I'd say he probably will. I mean, Monkeys Forever, every time we watch the Timber, he is really just darn fantastic on the hero. And while you do have those forms of control, you don't necessarily want to have to commit Raw on a Timbersaw, because that's kind of half the problem that you're solving. The other half being, of course, reactive armor is going to make it very hard to actually kill him off after you've rawed him up. Still EgoBoys. Third pick for them. Into the second pick phase we go. Maybe a position 5 pickup. They do go for the Viper, which could be a position 5, because we have seen it. For now, though, a pretty nice pick into the Timbersaw, I'd say.
Yep, just natural break for the Timbersaw. Really good early magic damage as well to handle that lane. So more than likely, just getting value here from Viper. I think we should expect it to be that hard support. Of course, that does mean EgoBoys do not have the best control beyond the Rubik Lift in terms of laning spells. So they are kind of lacking ways to just lock down the Timbersaw early on until you get more of these picks up, until maybe, again, you have to reconsider committing Roar for a Timbersaw, but it looks like it might end up that way here, depending on how the rest of the draft goes. TOOBASED, I mean, they get in a way, you know, you bait out a Viper pick with a Timbersaw. I think TOOBASED should be ready for that. I'm sure Monkeys Forever has played against that matchup before as a support. So they should be able to kind of compensate here and abuse it. Like, Viper into Nyx is not fun for Viper. So you walk into the Nether Toxin, pop your Spike Carapace. Viper's going to be locked down. You can easily follow up with the Impale and suddenly burst him down. Not the tankiest in the front, that Viper, right now at the least. So you have options there already with just the Nyx Assassin on hand, but TOOBASED, it's still a really value pick. They go into the Troll now, seeing that the Viper is the pause 5. So the Troll is going to be able to stand in front and be able to do a lot of damage out. Again, there's a lack of control here from EgoBoys outside of Roar and the Lift, which is not the most stable control. So there's a lot of value for the Troll to just keep running around and keep that fight up. And we'll have to see how TOOBASED does run that dual lane. Do they run the Nyx as a hard 5 with Troll? That's a possibility. Do they run it as a pause 4? Really depends. Like, maybe we see TOOBASED dip back for the Witch Doctor, although no, it's been banned out. But something else here for Empyrean. Perhaps they can look at a Keeper of the Light if they want some wave clear as well for the side of TOOBASED, as they only really have Timbersaw. I mean, Troll sort of can once he has a Battle Fury, but ideally you'd have a support that can also be comfy with clearing out some waves here.
I actually really wouldn't mind seeing something like a pause 5 Oracle here, or even the Abaddon for simply TOOBASED does seem kind of nice with the Troll. You are going to just be able to negate the Beastmaster altogether with those 2 pickups, if they wanted to run that as a pause 5. Honestly, though, I can't really remember the last time I saw Empyrean play either of those in the 5 role.
Well, he used to play a lot of Empyrean Abaddon, like in Echo League, all the way back.
That's a long time
ever
ago,
watched
John.
Echo League. Yeah, but he played it a lot, and it was all the way back. His team was BRB Buying Abyssal. See, Empyrean's teams always had the greatest names, right? BRB Buying Abyssal, simply TOOBASED. Very dank names from Empyrean teams, which I appreciate. But I think I agree with you. Like, the Abaddon would actually be really nice. The Oracle is a bit more value because False Promise and Troll Warlord is pretty nice. But I think if you wanted to just have more flexibility on hand, Abaddon's just such a solid choice. We have seen Abaddon's ruin Juggernauts as well, mainly by just standing there and copying the Omni Slash. That's one way to just remove value there from EgoBoys if they want. They go with the Oracle instead, so I'm a bit disappointed. I love Empyrean Abaddon just because it brings back very old memories, Mike. Very old.
There's too many positives to the Oracle, though, this game. Like, the disarm is going to be very nice as well into the Jug, even the Viper. Just being able to make it so they can't hit anybody unless they commit something like the Omni Slash. The Fate's Edict to block out all the magic damage from the Viper, going to be nice for the Timbersaw. But most of all, naturally, with the Troll Oracle lane, number one, it's a really disgusting lane to have to play against. It's almost impossible to beat it. And if you do manage to, you're still versing Troll and Oracle. So multiple ways for the Troll to stay alive, Battle Trance and False Promise up. And John, if the game goes super late, and this is something we never see in a pro match, but Aghanim Scepter Oracle is, in my opinion, one of the more broken things in Dota. Because you can Fate's Edict. It won't disarm your teammates, is what I'm trying to say. It won't disarm your teammates, but it gives them the magic immunity. So you won't take any magic damage, and you can still hit people. And the worst part is it still disarms the enemy. So we're never going to see it, because you're going to have to go very late into the game for that to happen for an Oracle. And even then, you know, in pro matches, it's the position 1 and 2 are going to just farm forever anyway, because that's just what they do. But I'd love to see an Aghanim Scepter Oracle, John. Gets me very excited to think about.
You know, we would call that very based. I think that would be appropriate for Simply TOOBASED if they do actually pick that up on Empyrean. But he's a very sacrificial 5, so I don't think he's going to get the farm for that. Still, last few bans here, all targeting mid. You see the Puck and the Invoker taken out by TOOBASED, the Storm Spirit taken out by EgoBoys, so just, again, targeting mid. They're leaving the Void Spirit in the pool for the both sides. Either side could really go for that right now. Void Spirit is such a stable core to have on mid. You can't really go wrong with it, I guess. You are lacking some push here from TOOBASED, so maybe they opt for something like the DK instead for I Annihilate. But I have a feeling they might just look at the Void Spirit. Like, they really prioritize that for a lot of mids. And you do have a decent enough time here, but it's banned out by EgoBoys, so maybe the DK. If not, maybe the Quap or a Lina, just for some push. You need something to get these towers early on. Right now, it's all on Troll, which is still amazing, but you want some independence there from Troll. Sometimes he just wants to farm up.
We'll see what it's going to be. I think any kind of mid that can right-click is going to be pretty nice here for Simply TOOBASED, because you're always going to have the Timber sort of front line, the tower damage anyway. They have 10 seconds reserve time to make the decision. And it's going to be a Leshrac. Alright, so you don't need to right-click, you've just got Diabolic Edict instead. Works very nicely. I think it fits the draft very nicely here for Simply TOOBASED. EgoBoys, they need a mid pickup of their own, unless they want to run the Viper mid. What do they want to get?
No real options for the Spirit Brothers here. Ideally, maybe something with burst damage. A Quap would rip right through Timbersaw, and Troll doesn't care for the Fate's Edict block as well from the Oracle, so you could look at something like that here for EgoBoys if you wanted. Just having that pure damage on hand is always nice to rip through some of these tankier heroes in the front. You always worry about Nyx, but you're going to worry about the Nyx regardless of your pick, so just might as well pick something that suits your lineup. As you mentioned, maybe EgoBoys eyes the Viper as a mid instead, but I think you lose some of the value in that Timbersaw matchup by going that way. Go with a Tiny instead. So that is another way of getting some burst damage off. It's not pure damage though. It can be blocked off by the Oracle, but we have seen Tinies work the mid lane quite nicely. Of course, it's Alone Tiny as well, and we have seen Alone hit these insane blink timings. Right? He's the fastest we've seen him do it was like 6.5 minutes. He immediately rotates onto a side lane and finds a kill. So there's some potential there for EgoBoys. They know how to play around that timing on the Tiny. We'll see if Alone can get that start he wants. Overall, really solid drafts from both sides. This one should definitely be quite the back and forth. Have to watch that Monkeys Forever Timbersaw pick up, though. A very strong pick for him.
It is.
And he just really dances on that hero.
That he does, John. I am kind of favoring the Simply 2-base draft as well, I might add. I think it is going to be quite potent, and I think it's quite hard to deal with. Assuming EgoBoys don't just completely dominate the laning stage, that is. But that shouldn't really be the case. Like, you look at the safe lane of Simply 2-based, Oracle Troll doesn't lose. Leshrac should be fine mid up against the Tiny. And the Viper's going to be annoying for Monkeys forever, but I'm pretty sure he's going to know what to do about it. Just being able to chain away generally is going to be enough. You are still probably going to let Ryzers farm on the Jug, but you can't really help it anyway. Not while the Viper's around.
No. It's going to be tricky, but I think overall, as you mentioned, 2-base does have a draft that is looking a lot stronger. I think EgoBoys for their draft, they need to play around the push potential of that Beastmaster. And Alone's Tiny needs to really bounce off. Like, we're talking about early blink timings, sub 10 minutes ideally, get those side lane rotations out, find those kills, while, say, the Oracle doesn't hit 6, because it takes a while for it to pause 5 to find that EXP, and play around that downtime. Just get as much as possible in the first 10 minutes, then try to control the map with the visions the Hawk gives you, and with the activity that Beastmaster can allow you, since it's not a very long cooldown on that war.
We'll get into it, game 1.
Prepare yourselves for the
Series is
main
quite important for both teams. Every win matters. Nobody's really out of the group stage yet either. Like, a lot of people would look at Simply 2-base position right now, and they think they're kind of out of it, but they're really not. Especially if they can manage a 2-0 victory up against EgoBoys, then they are certainly still in the running to get through to the playoffs. EgoBoys, obviously for them, getting the victory will kind of ensure that they are going to be in the playoffs. But they need to make that victory happen first. And I am talking 2-0s here. I'm not talking a draw.
Yeah, it needs to be a 2-0 for EgoBoys to hammer in a third place spot in the groups. So they're going to be looking for that just to guarantee that there's no leeway here for any sort of tiebreaker shenanigans or any lost opportunities for them. 2-base can't afford a 2-0 loss. That could potentially lock them out, as they need 3 points to kind of jump up, and a 2-0 gives them nothing. So they need to avoid that, at least aim for a draw, but ideally look for a win. And we'll see if they can bring that out again. They go into Monkeys Forever Timbersaw. I think that means 2-base means business.
Monkeys is going mid, by the way, John, on this Timber. He's not going into the off lane, it seems. He has run into a bit of a problem, but he will be able to chain away and get the other bounty anyway. So a 3-for-1 on the bounty runes. Monkeys not being punished whatsoever for that positioning. Tano, he's going to keep chasing him down, but there's not really much you can do. And I said he was going mid lane, but Monkeys right now is in the safe lane. But he is eventually going to TP away, and there you go. Right back mid, up against the lone. You've still got great magic damage on the Tiny. But I'd say this is going to be much better for Monkeys than being up against the Viper lane.
Yeah, it's definitely the swap that should work out in 2-base favor. I don't think Alone's going to receive too much pressure. That's something you're going to have to consider. If it was the Leshrac there, maybe you get the stuns off, you get the Lightning Storm off, and get good damage in. But with the Timbersaw on, Alone should still be able to find his farms in a very safe manner. So we'll see how much Monkeys Forever can take out. Of course, you have to respect the burst damage on Alone here. But Monkeys, once he hits level 3, should be able to sustain himself quite nicely. Still gives us a chance to look at the side lanes up top. You do have...
Well, actually, down bot, John. Empyrean getting very low on the Oracle. Fortune's in there on Boris. Looks like Ryze is pretty happy about that little scenario there, as Empyrean is forced to salve up on the Oracle. Of course, you've got to be very cautious not to be caught by that spin, as the Oracle doesn't really have many ways out until he has the Fate's Edict up. Until then, however, you can continue to just Fortune to end the Jug every time spin is on cooldown. And again, with this duo, even if they are up against Jug Rubik, I still think that the Troll and Oracle are kind of unbeatable as a duo in this lane.
Yeah, it's really hard to out-sustain what the Oracle and Troll bring out. Really interesting to see EgoBoys actually go for this lane swap as well, wanting to run the Jug versus the Troll. That does put some pressure onto Boris at least, and should allow for some opportunities to catch out the Oracle if ever, but it's just really strange to see this flex coming out. As you do see the first blood up top, and the Beastmaster Viper lane, when it's not against the Timbersaw, it doesn't feel like you get too much value in this one.
No, I mean, I lane, I guess he was being run down for a second, but eventually he got the Diabolic Edict off, and once that Edict is there, assuming you can land a follow-up stun, it's not too hard to see a Viper dying. Of course, Kara is not really that tanky on the Viper either. Still mid lane, alone, manages to kill off Monkeys forever. It looks like it was an avalanche toss and a tree toss being committed. Of course, Monkeys, he's level 3, but he doesn't have any magic resist yet. So he does have to be very cautious about this tiny damage.
Yeah, it's a lot coming out, and this is what you worry about with the Monkey anyway. Like, you might not be dealing with the Timbersaw lane, so you are free to still find your farm, but you cop that magic damage combo from Alone. The Avalanche Toss is a lot early on, and there's no play here for Monkeys. Like, there are not many trees for him to zip down from the middle of the lane. It's going to be a slower start for him. He's just trying to save for his bottle, but Alone already has his. So he's going to have the mana to try and approach that aggression once more. So it's going to be a slower start for our Timbersaw regardless. They're just trying to minimize the damage he takes by at least having some farm.
Ryze's bot lane taking a lot of damage on that Jug. You're at that point now where Boris will just harass the hell out of you on this troll. Again, Ryze is going to have to be very careful about when he does commit spin. Meanwhile, Kara being chased down by Flea again. Flea just apparently not afraid of the poison attack whatsoever. It's going to be a lot of damage being piled up, but he's still going to go for the Impale and the mana drain. Kara's going to mango up. Flea still not giving up on this, but eventually he has to run. It may just be too late for that, though. Kara just stacking up so much damage, and meanwhile, bot lane rises. Does end up killing off Empyrean.
Yeah, it's getting to be a bit of a mess here for TOOBASED at the start with these lanes. Just dropping these kills early on does set up for the side of EgoBoys to have this really smooth start. They get to secure the bottle for Alone, so he could make a play on Monkeys if he's not careful.
That they do. Monkeys gonna lose a lot of HP, but is gonna remain alive. Alone almost just setting up for the next Avalanche Toss combo. The next one should be able to just kill off the Timber, assuming he doesn't heal up too much. Bot lane, looks like they were trying to make a play onto Jug, but Tano was there with the lift to make sure Empyrean couldn't get a nice Fortune's End off. So very impressive here from Ryzes and Tano, just seemingly evening out the lane. I would have expected a much worse lane for EgoBoys here, but they really don't seem to be suffering at all. Of course, Ryzes with 1 kill already, and it's going to feel quite nice for them.
Yeah, I think the big issue here is that Empyrean's not opting for the early Fate's Edict, so every single time they see the opportunity to just spin on top, they're going to find a kill. And without that magic resist coming out on Empyrean, that just means the Jug gets a lot of value from that early movement out. They are also rotating their heroes out once more down mid. Monkeys, he probably isn't going to be finding these bottle refills. They need to prioritize that for Alone, and so far, with the numbers on hand, they should be able to at least get him one of these runes once more.
Perhaps. You still got the chains on Monkeys forever. Alone's going to go ahead and try and secure the bot rune now. Avalanche Toss is available. Chakra will be thrown out. Power Rune is going to be up top, so Monkeys might just chase down the Tiny. Now Flea's going to rotate. Impale going to land as well, and they are going to get the kill. Meanwhile, on the top side, Annihilate had actually rotated himself on the Leshrac, and he got Kara. Now Tano, who tried to help defend the mid-tier 1 tower, is going to get caught out by Monkeys, and he's gone as well. A double kill out for the Timber.
Oh boy. That just bounces back Monkey's game by a big shot. And with this early rotation from Annihilate, they have to move the heroes in to stop that mid-push. Ryzes has to show up here. They do miss the stun. That tier 1 tower is going to be standing, but it's at 478 HP. That is gone in the next Edict. And despite that slower start, once they hit these level spikes on the side of TOOBASED, they're starting to show up more. Level 6 on Monkeys means he has damage output. with the level 3 reactive, he's not going to be melting as fast. They've managed to split the lanes up more so that Boris can find his farm down bot. Alone has to deal with that lane now. So he's got to be a bit cautious from the Avalanche Toss combo, but should still be able to get that steady build up. And he just wants to build into that Battle Fury. Whereas it's still fairly open for Rises. He only has the phase boot, so we'll have to find out if he will want to match that farming build here. But if Boris does find his Battle Fury at a good time, and we see a fighting build on the Jug, we've seen that mismatch work against the cores that want to fight. So there could be a good farm advantage that comes out for TOOBASED if the game goes long.
Top tier 1 tower going to be focused here by I Annihilate, Boris, and Flea. You can't defend both lanes at once if you are EgoBoys, so they have to let the top go down. Monkeys Forever is trying to slowly get some pressure out onto the tier 1 mid. I guess you want to be slightly careful you don't get it into deny range though, because you can almost guarantee the tower going down with just the Leshrac and Rises. Left a neutral item there, I think. Probably won't matter, he might just go back for it. Monkeys Forever, going to be in a spot of danger, going to try and chain away, but they do hold him down. It won't matter though, the Fate's Edict does keep him safe. Looks like Simply TOOBASED are prepared to go for that mid-tier 1 now.
Yeah, they've got the numbers. They're forced to TP Rises out. Just wants to farm up. He is going for the Maelstrom. So we're going to see that disparity between a farming build and a fighting build. And I think the Troll, as this game drags on with his Battle Fury when it comes out, is going to have that farm advantage on hand. So you have to be careful with how slow you play this game for your EgoBoys.
Tano, Chakram going to be very nice for Monkeys Forever. He's feeling confident now. Kara going to get started with the damage. Benjaz comes in from the side with the roar up. Monkeys, he can't get the chain out. It's a bit overly confident there for Monkeys Forever, and he does get punished for it. It does cost EgoBoys 4 people to rotate to get that kill and protect that mid-tier 1. And it looks like they're going to have to deny that off anyway.
Yeah, it's right within range. They're not putting the heroes out to get that done, though. And with Roar committed, they're not going to have an angle for a fight for their own, so they're going to have to sit back, farm on their own as well. Benjaz does have the level 1 Necronomicon, so he can get a good push going by himself, and just kind of try to secure that bot jungle, which they are getting done. So still some good efficiency here out from EgoBoys. The side of TOOBASED, it's fairly even. 4-4, 1k lead, for less than 1k lead for EgoBoys. They finally get the deny off, but that just means they can invade the jungle now.
I mean, a slight net worth lead. TOOBASED are taking over the map quite well. Looks like Boris is just trying to catch up on the Troll Warlord now. Going for that Battle Fury build-up. Rises into the Maelstrom. I suppose with this Beastmaster, you can kind of just bank on the fact that you're going to be able to push back later. He is just working towards the Necro 2 now. It is going to be slightly tough into the Timbers though. You can just kind of frontline almost like a Tide Hunter. And just make it so all your creeps can't really get to the tower.
Yeah, it's a bit trickier to get that creep push gone while you're playing up against a Timber side. You might want to clean them up first, just commit the numbers. You do have the break on Kara, of course, and they are smoked up trying to hunt Boris.
Oh, that's a nice kill. Boris gonna die. Very, very important kill there. And I'm, as you can see, EgoBoys do seem very happy about it.
Oh, Empyrean.
Even more perhaps, Empyrean being caught. He gets the Fate's Edict, but it is going to wear off soon. Alone trying to make the decision, does toss him right in. That's the decision. That's how you do it. A triple kill out for Alone, and now they can certainly get that tier 1 mid tower. Even the tips coming up for Monkeys Forever.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. You can't really get the positioning right. They kind of walked into that triangle even after they lose their Troll, so just a bit optimistic. And the control here from EgoBoys is just something else. They're going to be able to shove in this mid-tier 1, making some steady progress on that push, and they actually even smoked up on 2 heroes, but they're not going to find anyone there. So Alone's gank attempt not going to line up. That does mean the mid-tier 1 stands for a bit longer without the numbers to push it down. So TOOBASED don't lose as much, but they're starting to lag behind in farm here. Oh boy, Boris.
Oh, he's caught out again. Pops the battle trance. Alone's just waiting for the right moment. Looks like they'll leave it at that. Boris gonna have help on the way anyway. Be thanking his lucky stars he didn't die. But all this time being wasted is allowing Rises to really farm up at a much quicker pace. In fact, the troll is very far behind. And now mid lane, Flea getting Viper striked up. And still too much damage is coming out from these Necro units. He will be forced to false promise Flea. That'll keep the Nyx Assassin alive. TOOBASED, they're going to continue just desperately trying to hold on to this mid-tier 1.
Yeah, and they're staving off that push. They are smoked up as well. They want to play around with Nyx and the Leshrac. Perhaps they find something up top. Rises. Could be good.
Nah, he's going to spin TP. He'll be right. I don't think this smoke's really going to lead to anything. Simply TOOBASED, they're going to try and wrap around the dire jungle. Maybe Tano gets caught out. Looks like that's the only choice they have. He's just sticking around with the Chakram, pushing the mid wave out. And simply TOOBASED, they'll get the Yules off with Annihilate. But Alone is around with an Avalanche Toss. It's not going to be quite enough to blow up the Leshrac, but maybe with the follow-up they can, and they will. Definitely a better trade here for EgoBoys as Alone. He's going for a bit more now. Empyrean tossed up. He'll go down. Monkeys is trying to fight, but it looks like he's going to be in danger as the blink forward is there from Alone. Chakram's not going to land. He's surrounded. Roar is up, and he does go down. A 3-for-1. The smoke does end up working in the favor of EgoBoys.
Yeah, it's it was very forced to try to jump the Rubik there. Probably not the target they'd want anyway. They don't have any aggressive wards here from the side of TOOBASED, so they just have no information to play with when you do pop these smokes. And
Jump in, but the Necro Creep died. So Annihilate just lost half his HP to the Death Pact. That is very unfortunate stuff for Annihilate for sure. Probably not what he was expecting. In fact, now Alone fighting another. They got Boris on the Troll. He does have Battle Trance again, and Flea is going to be there anyway. Just to make sure they can't get a free kill. But you see how confident EgoBoys are right now. Just walking right into the Radiant Triangle, taking their bounty runes away, and there's really nothing, it seems, that simply TOOBASED can do about it.
No, they can't contest these fights. They need some farm to come out here onto Monkeys Forever and onto Boris. Still waiting for that Battle Fury up in the Troll. Been a slow start for Boris, just constantly contested. Even Annihilate, like, he's got the Yules. He hasn't been able to really maximize the kill potential with that. So they've been kind of lagging behind from that.
Leshrac, Yules up. Avalanche gonna fly out. They didn't quite have the toss. Rises though with the spin might be enough, but they get the false promise. Instead now Kara forcing the battle trance out from our Troll. Empyrean trying to help out, but he really can't do much. Boris is gonna die and so will Empyrean. And they will get Kara, but it's a 3-for-1 trade again. Definitely very bad news for simply TOOBASED. And EgoBoys now, they're 6k net worth ahead. They are well and truly riding their way to a Game 1 victory.
Yeah, and they're setting up for these pushes quite nicely. We're not seeing the same impact from Annihilate. They're just not able to get any of these tower trades that they'd want. They are getting space out for Monkeys Forever. He is trying to rush the Lotus Orb, but it just feels like it's going to take too long, and they are really sacrificing everyone else to get that farm going. Like Boris, still waiting for Battle Fury. Even after that, he needs the BKB, so he's going to be lacking damage a bit. I think they're just hoping that these fights last long enough with a false promise, with a Battle Trance, that he can just get that damage off over time. But when the map shrinks like this, further itemization is going to be stalled out for TOOBASED. So very well played from EgoBoys so far, playing with their push timings on the Beastmaster and working those lanes out. I think the aggressive positioning of the Jug in the off lane instead really must have caught TOOBASED off guard, and they just weren't ready for it. They were taking some hits early on in that lane, and now they've got to contend with the result of that laning phase.
Its bottom tower is under attack.
Alone, looking for a nice toss target. Is going to run into the Oracle and Nyx Assassin. Empyrean looks like he is set to die. He'll try the Fate's Edict, but Alone will just hit him. As Tiny 7, 1, and 5. Impressive stuff from Alone. You really start to ask yourself what TOOBASED can do. Like, you look at Boris on the Troll, and he's still trying to get that Battle Fury up. Things have just fallen apart for this this Radiant side. It's very hard to see how they're going to come back into this game.
Is under attack.
Yeah, it's difficult. They need that farm and Troll. Even after the Battle Fury, you're still going to need more items. It's the BKB next for Boris, so it's going to be more than that. He just needs way more to come out. The map is shrinking too fast. They can't even get space out of the monkeys, and
Yeah, Flea trying to use that Meteor Hammer, just pushing out the wave, but won't even get that for himself. Benjaz happy to take another kill for the Beastmaster. You look at poor Monkeys Forever, just trying to farm a Lotus Orb right now in this Timber. That's how desperate things have gotten. Just has a plate mail for now, but Alone again with the Avalanche Toss. Just getting right in there onto Monkeys. He'll be able to survive and chain away, but while all that's happening, the Roshan started. And without the Timber around, they're never going to scout this out. TP also cancelled on Monkeys Forever. So he doesn't get away with the TP. Luckily, he's very good at hide and seek. You can't really find him right now. Free throw again, Alone. Seems to have spotted him out. Another toss. Just torturing the Timbersaw. He's torturing him. Fade Bolt in, Avalanche out. Monkeys is still stuck there. No way out. He's just going to die. He's trying to juke the best he can. I think Alone's having fun with this. They get him eventually, and the Tiny doesn't need any more farm. It's got the blink up. It's happy. Just wasting the Timbersaw's time is going to feel great for the side of EgoBoys.
And just widens their lead as well. It's 6-17, 9k up. EgoBoys just having everything on hand. You do have this Battle Fury on Boris, but again, he still needs a lot of space to get some work out. Annihilate does find the tower bot, but they can't stop this push.
Empyrean not going to get tossed back. Spike Carapace really saving the day there from Flea, but indeed, how do you stop the push from EgoBoys? Already a tier 2 mid tower going down prior to the 20-minute mark. They can rush for the outpost if they really want. In fact, never mind, they've already got it. So no 20-minute XP to come out for simply TOOBASED. Benjaz just realized they already had the outpost as well, so he'll turn right back around. They also get every bounty rune, it seems. So the net worth just keeps getting worse, at least for TOOBASED.
Monkeys.
He's been found out. Rises. Can slowly just chip away at the HP pool of Monkeys Forever, but he can't lock him down. That being said, he has help on the way. Lone. Won't go for it. It seems they're just going to be more than happy to just take down the top tier 2 tower. It's just very surgical play right now from EgoBoys.
Yeah. They're not taking any major risks. They're just playing for objectives, finding kills where they can, and shutting down the map. There's no room to grow here for TOOBASED.
Now there's the Avalanche toss as well. Monkeys Forever showed himself for a second, and it's going to cost him. He has buyback, but I'm not really sure it's going to help if they go high ground. They're just so far behind. Meteor Hammer, Impale, they'll slow things down. Glyph is there, and that'll definitely help, but Rises still has the healing ward. So everyone's being healed up. Alone is looking for a target, and he does get the Avalanche toss onto Annihilate. And that should be a dead Leshrac. The False Promise does come in, but Rises wants to commit. He has the Omni in case he needs it. The poison attack's flying in. Annihilate barely going to survive with his life intact. But EgoBoys, they're still getting what they came for. And of course, that is the top racks. Monkeys, he's going to TP right in. I'm not sure about this. They still have Aegis and Omni. There's your spin out. Monkeys forever going to try and chain away. It's not looking great. There's your Fate's Edict to block out the spin damage. Now Annihilate moving back in with the Pulse Nova. Monkeys chaining right back in as well. EgoBoys, are they going to try and turn? Tano, he did blink forward, but doesn't find a lift target. That's going to be enough for now.
I mean, they take the melee racks. They don't find more, but you got the big one already. They can look at the different lane while they have Aegis, and looks like they might. They're setting up for mid. It is only Rises up front as Alone went back for a rune, but it is a double damage rune as well. When he comes in, he's going to hit like a truck. You've got to watch out for that.
You will be forever alone.
They're going to take their time. You control the map now, and I think for EgoBoys, yeah, they've got a 12k net worth lead, and I'm sure they're very well aware of it. But there's no need to rush. They've got all the time in the world, all the farm in the world to boot. There was a smoke up from Simply 2 base. They're just trying to move to the other side of the map to be able to farm up safely. But the lines are already drawn out. They seem to be aware of this. Lift up onto Flea, Yule's out on the left track, but no, the Roar is there. They've got Annihilate again. They might be able to kill off Tano, but doesn't really matter. If Boris can get himself out, he can. But you lost your position 2 left track again. And on the brighter side for Simply 2 base, the Aegis does expire in the jug. But that's about all there is.
Yeah, they're still sort of finding stable farm here for Boris while all of this is happening. So your troll is somewhat keeping up. He's about 1k behind the Tiny, about 2k behind the Jug. So not too far apart, at least on those pause ones. Everyone else is really taking the back seat. We'll have to see if the investment in Boris will pay off, if this troll can hyper carry his team. But lanes are constantly shoved out. They can't approach any objectives. They have a hard time piercing into the jungle. And EgoBoys, they're just building up more and more. They've got the BKB flying out here for Alone. He's going to be able to just sustain himself in the front line now. BKB for Benjaz being saved up for as well. Not too far off. And these kinds of timings are just not being met by TOOBASED. Monkeys Forever going back for Yules now, just for some additional mana, a little bit of control, and a little bit of dodging capabilities. You're seeing Annihilate try to go for the Guardian Greaves for sustain. So it's going in on utility for these two heroes, and it's really all about Boris in front.
Oh, Monkeys, no.
They need more.
Chained right into Alone there, trying to just skip creep waves while he can. Toss up. He's going to survive for now. The chains away are there as well. He's trying to go for the bounty, but he will not get it. Benjaz will have none of that. Now, meanwhile, they found the Jug. That'll be a massive pickoff, but Rises, he actually gets the Nyx Assassin first. Boris going to get False Promised very early on. They just want to try and get that Battle Trance off and get a kill for themselves. And they get it. But Boris needs a way out now. Everything's been used up. Avalanche connects, the toss as well. They are just playing with their food.
Forever. You will be alone forever.
EgoBoys just outplaying Simply 2Base completely in this game number 1. A 15k net worth lead now. And it might just be about that time to call it. Like, if you feel the need to False Promise before the Battle Trance and then you pop Battle Trance anyway, those are some real desperate times, John.
That they are. EgoBoys just going to rip into these racks. They're trying to split up as well. Alone taking care of the bot set. You do have the respawns up on 4 for Hero, so they can try to slow it down, but beyond that, they just have no damage, nothing to deal with this.
Lift up, they found Annihilate. ATD going to protect him for a bit. Alone, chain through, they might get the Tiny. That'll be a big pickup, but no, he BKBs. Benjaz has an overwhelming blink up apparently on the Beastmaster.
Ooh.
So that's when you know they're feeling confident. Because God knows that item isn't very good.
That it isn't. But, you know, Benjaz gets to have a little bit more strength in hand. He's got a slow on the follow-up blink in, so or options for the approach. Two-based, every single side just kind of exposed now. Their bot tier 3 is the only one standing.
Oh, nice impale from
Mid lane.
Tano. Into the dust, he knew he hit it as well. Flea's going to try and fight back. Rises will go straight for the spin. I annihilate. Boris going to show up, but there's your avalanche and toss again onto Boris. But he has the battle trance. He'll get the kill onto Alone. In fact, I annihilate's the one with a double kill. Now moving on to the Viper. They've got Kara in their sights. They'll get another. But Boris, can he find a way out? Benjaz is chasing him down. In fact, he's going to turn right back around onto the Beastmaster, but now he needs to run. There's his split earth out from I Annihilate. They did end up killing off Boris. Rise is still around. Impel there from Flea into the Meteor Hammer, but now the Omni Slash. Just going to bounce right back to the Nyx Assassin. But that was actually a pretty good team fight for Simply Two-Based.
Yeah, they managed to catch them out one by one. EgoBoys just kind of streaming in. A bit too staggered. Do get punished for it. That was a 2.6k gold swing going the way of Two-Based there. So a lot of gold coming out, just not enough to close this deficit just yet. And you did still drop Boris earlier on. So still not the best of results, but at least you save your racks. You save your high ground for now. EgoBoys is going to have to reapproach that later on. And kind of have to reel in the aggression just a tad bit. Maybe get a little bit more running here on Rises. He's saving up for the Ags. Might as well finish that up first. It's just about done. Like 200 gold off for the Juggernaut. Roche is going to be up in a minute as well. That gives them a second life to play with and cheese. They should look to maybe just line that up before the next push gets started.
It looks like they will. Simply Two-Based. They've smoked up. Tano, oh, nice blink away from Flea. Now the Swift Slash coming through from Rises. We'll get the Nyx into Benjaz, who blinks right in with the Roar. Still the Troll not dying quick enough. Boris, he's going to survive, and he does have the Battle Trance. He'll get it off, but Rises is just simply spinning away. Or maybe not. The Split Earth is there. They get the kill onto the Jug, but the Avalanche Toss is going to kill off Boris. Into the left rack, I Annihilate. Gonna die. Monkeys forever. Gonna try and survive, but he's gone. And they want the last. Empyrean just trying to run away. It's not gonna work out in his favor. Tano with the chains getting another. The Roshan's up if they want to go get it. I think you generally want to give the Aegis to Rises, but it may not really matter this game. They are still 20k ahead in terms of net worth. And Dota Plus is sitting at 98% in terms of win probability, so, you know, they could just leave it for now.
Yeah, not too much pressure here. They could just wait for the respawn on Rises first, keep those lanes shoved out. Two-Based, just walking into that, not in the best of fashions. Getting caught off guard by the Jug Ags as well. So that Swift Slash does too much work.
Boris, alone, gonna pop his BKB, roar out from Benjaz. They've got the Troll, they kill him off, and now Flea also gonna go. Very, very bad news as Alone rushes straight into a tier 4 tower, and there you go, GG's called. No buybacks left, simply Two-Based. Looking very outmatched in game 1. I wonder how they changed things up in game 2 to try and pull this series back their way. Because EgoBoys, they made it look quite easy in this game 1.
Yeah, they just worked their lanes out well. That swap with the Jug going off lane really caught them off guard. They couldn't get that running start they wanted with Boris, with the Oracle as well. So the Troll-Oracle combo just not paying off. EgoBoys was ready to be aggressive in that lane, and they did. I think Two-Base have to be ready to make adjustments to their own lanes. Like, they ran Timbersaw mid in reaction to the Viper pickup, knowing it was going to be support. But then they also had the Jug versus Troll lane that just didn't work out. The early presence of Jug with Spin was really showing its head there. And I think they've got to be ready for some more flexibility on hand. They also have to take away this Alone Tiny. Alone on Tiny has just been a madman. Every single lane matchup, every single game we get to see him pick that up, he just dominates. So I think they have to take that comfort pick away from EgoBoys as well and be very careful about going into Timbersaw early on. I get that it's Monkeys Forever special, but up against certain heroes, it just doesn't do enough.
With that, John, we are going to move on to our next series, or rather next game. Of course, the last game of the night between Simply TOOBASED and EgoBoys. It'll be about roughly 10 minutes. So we'll see you all again very soon once that Game 2 draft is underway.
early on. I get it's confidence pick for Monkeys Forever, but it just got countered hard. The mid matchup against the Tiny from Alone as well was way too much. Alone's Tiny is probably one of the best right now in the world, I'd say. He hits his timings well, he knows how to pace himself, and the team just manages to structure their entire gameplay around that. So just kind of preventing that from coming out could be big. They've got some room to ban it out in the next phase, but they've got to reconsider how they kind of approach it there. Boris could not find farm. The swaps from EgoBoys on lanes just was too much. You need to be ready to be as flexible as EgoBoys. And for 2-Based, if they don't get a 2-0 here, if they don't get a draw here, then I think they're going to have to find a solid win in their next match, their last match. But more than likely, you know, if you're 2-Based right now, you want to find that draw. And EgoBoys, of course, if they find a 2-0, they are straight off into playoffs. So very important for them to just hammer this win in. We'll see if they can maintain that. They did have a great game 1. And if they maintain that performance, I think the shot is looking pretty clear here.
Yeah, I mean, in game 1, I'd still stick by what I said. I think the draft from Simply 2-Base was just better. I thought the laning was better as well. But the outplays from EgoBoys, they just made it look very easy. And of course, it doesn't really matter what draft you have if the other team just clearly outplays you. We'll see if that was the case, though. I mean, game 2 is a chance for 2-Base to rectify what happened in game 1. And it looks like the draft is going to go with the Mirana Void Spirit to open things off. EgoBoys naturally just going back to the Rubik. And I think when you see a Mirana against you, it's just a very nice pick to have. Just being able to take the arrow away, take the Moonlight Shadow away. In fact, any skill from Mirana is actually really good on the Rubik. And as well as that, of course, they go back to the Beastmaster. Why the hell not? I mean, you saw how confident they were at Benjaz on the Beastmaster, going for an overwhelming blink at like 25 minutes into the game. Like, who does that, John? Nobody does that.
Well, you do it when you're winning, and EgoBoys, if it worked last time, there's no need to fix it. They go back to the strong combination coming out with Rubik Beastmaster. The 2-Base, though, with a Void Spirit, I think that's a lot better as the first phase pick here. You have the setup for an arrow now with a Remnant. We've seen that be pretty potent as well. And, of course, it's very hard to bully out a Void Spirit mid. So no matter what Alone gets, it should be a lot more even for I Annihilate. And it doesn't look like they're going to have to flex their lane out because they were forced to run Timbersaw mid against that Tiny. This time around, it should be straightforward enough to just have the Void Spirit come out on the mid lane where I Annihilate wants to be. So that should be an easier time for 2-Based. EgoBoys, though, we'll see what else they do bring out. You do see the respect ban for the Jug here from 2-Based, just not wanting to deal with that from Rises again. Of course, just having that spell immunity on hand takes away a lot of the presence of the Void Spirit and the Mirana, so they don't want to give any opportunities there for EgoBoys. You do see EgoBoys taking out the Monkeys Forever Tide, so there's not going to be a Ravage to play around here. We'll have to see what else comes out from that off lane.
Okay. I like the fact that EgoBoys are actually just leaving the Timbersaw there, almost kind of daring him to choose it again. I wouldn't blame 2-Base for going back to it, though. I think he plays the hero very well. Maybe just not so much in the mid lane. Looked very rough up against the Tiny. Up against the Beastmaster, it doesn't seem that bad. I mean,
it just felt like EgoBoys weren't afraid to commit the roar for him. Like every single time, they just came in and roared and held him down.
I think that's going to be the case no matter what, though, John. When you're winning by that much, you may as well just commit the roar, right?
Yeah, but ideally, you'd want the Timbersaw, you know, if he cops the roar, then everyone else should be ready to make a play. It's just that the rest of the draft couldn't build off of it.
I see.
I think they don't want to risk that anymore. Like, you want the Timbersaw to still find farm, and in a Beastmaster versus Timbersaw lane, that can be better. And again, they don't have to flex their lanes out, but I love the response from EgoBoys. They go for the CM. They've got another solid piece of hold. So if ever that Timbersaw comes out, you have to deal with the Frostbite now to keep you locked in. And of course, the CM aura will allow the Beastmaster to keep spamming his spells out. Even Rubik's going to enjoy the aura early on. There's some more spammability coming out here for EgoBoys. And some pretty nice team fight. Like, people underestimate that freezing field. Once you expend the arrow and the remnant here from the side of 2-Based, as long as our Crystal Maiden can find a good spot, And that song and dance is going to go on for quite a fair bit.
TOOBASED, 20 seconds reserve time left to make this third pickup. A lot of thinking being done. Alright, they go into the Tusk for now, so not really revealing too much. That should be a position 5 Tusk for Empyrean. I think that is going to be important to really be able to fight back up against EgoBoys, and of course the Tusk always kind of gives you that possibility with all the saves you can have with the Snowball, the catch possibility with the Shards, but now you've got an Ursa up against you, so you can't really get close to kill him with the tag team, because he'll just turn right back around and just hit you over and over again, and of course he can Earth Shock out of the Shards as well, which is always kind of nice. Though it is a bit clunky, it still does work most of the time.
Yeah, you've got a lot of counterplay potential here for EgoBoys. They've got this really nice lane. Ursa Crystal Maiden. It's actually fairly aggressive. If they want to jump up, they get the slow off, they get the Earth Shock off. You're probably looking at a kill, so you have to be careful with that, but TOOBASED do go into the PL. This is one way to counteract the Ursa. He doesn't necessarily deal with the illusion spam all too well. In fact, none of the heroes of EgoBoys really handle the Phantom Lancer illusions that well. So there's some value here. We'll have to see what Boris builds into. Whether or not he's taking a page out of Pale Horse. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. We've seen PL work when you don't go for Octarine build. So probably a traditional, maybe Manta Diffusal or Diffusal SNY build here for Boris, which will work out well. EgoBoys do have room in their last pick to kind of handle the PL. There's an option there for an Ember Spirit, which again has also been up and down, but gives you that way of spamming out Maelstrom procs with your Sleight of Fist, so you can get some damage there to just stop the peel from being a major issue if they wanted to. We'll see what the
I'm sorry, John, I don't know if they don't have wave clear though. I mean, you've got Rubik Beastmaster, Ursa with a Battle Fury, Crystal Maiden.
for a PL though.
I don't
for
know
a
if it's going to
PL.
be a problem, John. I'm not sure about this. I've seen
I
Ursa
know,
vs. PL many times as well, and the Battle Fury with the Overpower kind of just lets you shred through him.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. It seems really easy to run down everyone else if they're one by one, and you don't have anything as mobile as the PL. So say you hammer into him, he just kind of doppels out and runs. Like once you expend a roar and once you expend a root, if the PL just comes in after that, you don't really have the best of hold. So it could be a bit dicey. They could still make it work, obviously. As long as your Ursa doesn't get mana burn fully, then you should still be able to use your spells there. Maybe get a BKB off if you're worried about the control coming out afterwards from TOOBASED. That is one way to kind of get that done. It's a back and forth one. PL has been kind of dead, though. So on paper, the Ursa is just a better core with tighter timings. So TOOBASED will have to make that PL work a lot. And then, they need that win because they need a draw. They absolutely need to find that draw. TOOBASED do pick up the Pangolier to close it out. So that's going to be our Monkey's hero. This arm going to be very good against the Ursa if you can proc it. And that does give them some wave clear here as well for TOOBASED to stop that push with the Beastmaster. So some good responses there. You don't have a wave holding the Pangolier in while he gets a Rolling Thunder off, but EgoBoys do go back into the Ember. So they just want that natural PL counter on hand just to keep the Sleight Fist spam up and get the bounces off with a Maelstrom build here. We'll see how much more they can get. Alone, Ember Spirit up against I Annihilate's Void Spirit. Definitely, again, back, it's a mechanics-based mid matchup. So we'll see who does come out as the mechanically stronger player. There's some nice spikes on both sides to play with in the 1v1 there. But you're looking at smoother laning here for TOOBASED, which is really the bigger change-up from game one. You're not seeing Monkeys Forever flux down mid. You're not seeing him up against a very unfavorable matchup. There should be ways for the Pangolier to at least get some of that control off, get some of that initial farm off, and maybe slow down Rise's game here a bit.
But does this draft give you more confidence, John? Do you think that simply TOOBASED are going to be able to beat out EgoBoys in this game too with this draft? How confident are you?
It's a difficult one. They left themselves open to an Ember Spirit pickup. The Phantom Lancer already, as you mentioned, is not the strongest core. You have some answers in your supports. You have some answers in the Ursa. But having the Ember on top is just like a cherry on top. It's a lot for Boris to have to play into. He needs to hit these timings with Diffusal Mantle or Diffusal SNY fast, and then apply some pressure and build into the heart very quickly. So he has to have an almost perfect ramp up on the PL's power spikes. Whereas for EgoBoys, it's much more forgiving. They've got really good push with that Beastmaster up. They've got the Ember Spirit around to just kind of go around each lane, apply that pressure on the side lanes, try to slow down the PL. And it just seems easier to do what EgoBoy wants to do here. Whereas for TOOBASED, it has to be almost perfect. Boris has to have a really good lane. And we saw EgoBoys, they knew what exactly to do up against Boris last time. So they need to relieve that pressure in this PL somehow.
Well, TOOBASED's going to rotate his 4 towards the top side. Might try to go for a quick first blood, but a very nice Hawk there from the Beastmaster. It's going to scout everything out. It's very lucky as well, because Rises was making his way over towards the Banner Rune spot, and you can already see a sentry ward that was placed by the Ursa. But the Hawk giving enough vision, so he knows to stay by his tier 1 tower, and with his 4-man rotation should amount to absolutely nothing. Monkeys, he might have a look to see if Rise is around, and now they spot each other out. But it's not going to matter unless you're willing to dive the tier 1 tower, which naturally at level 1 you aren't. So TOOBASED just going to back off.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity. You need every single bit you can get here for TOOBASED. But it should be fine just to find these bounty rune trades. Not much of a scuffle. Of course, with that sentry down, you're not getting as much value in terms of D-ward, but you are keeping that camp blocked up. So TOOBASED aren't going to have the angle to pull. And Rises is just going to hold steady here. He knows what to expect. Monkeys Forever is going to be up there, along with Flea on the Mirana. Pango Mirana, stable lane. You can clear out the creep wave fast. You can arrow the range creep. We'll see if EgoBoys prioritizes blocking the arrow out early on just to get some... just to stop that early XP gain. Of course, Rises will have Kara around. Looks like Kara's just waiting for a bit, waiting for a couple of item drops. Does get the stick. So the stick recipe's there for Rises. Should have the upgrade up. And that should help Rises just hold this lane steady. With all the spell spam he expects, just having an early one does help him get some value there.
A very early jump in onto Rises, but a lot of damage being dealt there onto Monkeys Forever. They will try to return the favor onto the CM. Meanwhile, mid lane, I Annihilate. Already dropping extremely low here. They are just level 2 right now. In fact, I Annihilate's still level 1.
This is down to Alone going for... He went for the Searing Chains build. He starts with Chains, he goes for Sleight of Fist. He's just going for harassment, trying to bully out I Annihilate. And this is a great way to play that lane. Not going for the Flame Guard for easy clears. Instead, going for extreme harassment early on can make it hard for that Void Spirit to play. He can't really dodge anything until he gets a value point and Dissimulate, so you're almost always going to have some damage coming through every single time.
Of course, down at the bot lane as well, John. You've got Empyrean there, along with Tano and supports. Of course, you've got Benjaz as well as Boris up against each other in the lane. Now Empyrean trying to get some harassment out with the tag team, but top lane is where the first blood's going to be. It's like Monkeys Forever and Flea do manage to catch out Kara. Kara, it looks like he got Flea's courier, but loses his life in the process.
Yeah, just a bit too far forward. You have to respect the damage output of a Pangolier early on. Level 2 with a Lucky Shot, you can just get slowed down and get controlled up. Of course, you're having better pacing here for Monkeys Forever on the off lane. Rises is still somewhat finding his farm, so you're not too upset, and you can just look to jump in again, get the harassment off. But you aren't looking to commit too hard, not until Kara has at least a Frostbite up and running.
Another arrow out, just making sure they secure all these creeps. Mid lane still looking pretty dominant here from Alone as well on the Ember. 14 and 5 in comparison to the 9 and 0 of I Annihilate. A lot of denies out from December Spirit. Now Boris gonna lose his courier with his brown boots on there. Tano managing to snipe that out. It's gonna feel quite nice, just making sure Boris is a very slow peel.
Yeah, it's not the biggest loss for Boris, as he can at least still play with a Phantom Rush. the gap close if he wants and maybe try to run out if he sees a camp nearby, but that does make it harder for Boris to weave in and out here. He doesn't have a value point in the doppel. This lane for Empyrean and Boris, PL Tusk, I mean, there's some opportunities to be aggressive. It's just that you don't necessarily want to jump a Beastmaster early on. He's very tanky. Early Belt of Strength up for Benjaz building into the Necronomicon means he has a lot of strength in hand. So you're just going to have to sit and farm, and for the most part, you are finding good farm on Boris, so at the least he's not slowing down too much, but you want some aggression here with Empyrean.
Bottom lane, Tano. Gonna go for a run, but Benja's gonna turn around now with the balls out, and Empyrean, he's gone. Tano will take the kill on the Rubik.
My sorcery is unstoppable.
That's very unfortunate. If you can't get the tag team to amount on a kill, it just is gonna mean that Benjaz can turn around, assuming he has 2 balls up, and you're not really gonna be able to move as the Tusk. It's a very painful experience.
Yeah, it's definitely not the ideal there for Empyrean. They also don't manage to get the supports to rotate out for the power runes. So Alone once again secures the first power rune, has a regen on hand. And this lane for Annihilate has not been going well. He's still ferrying out his own bottle. And Alone has just been able to dance around here. Despite, you know, going for those chains early on, it hasn't slowed down his farm at all. And Annihilate's just kind of forced back, just taking some EXP hits. That means Alone will hit level 6 faster and should be able to exert his presence early.
Yeah, Monkeys Forever, meanwhile, top lane. Ends up dying there to Rises, trying to hide in the tree line, and now Flea copying a lot of damage. He still has leap charges. Rises not wanting to take too much damage from that tier 1, won't go any further. Wisely backs off, and Flea will have to do the same. He's going to try and fight over these 5-minute bounty runes, and Kara might go down for this. Arrow out, Flea dropping low, does commit all his leaps. He will manage to get the bounty and run, but does lose his courier in the process, but he'll be able to TP out just fine. Bit of a win there for Simply TOOBASED for sure.
Yeah, just getting that onto Flea is always nice. Mirana finding some early kills does lead you to an easier ramp up. You want to hit your level spikes here as well. Still haven't seen Flea manage to commit for a rotation mid. We need to see some of those remnants into arrows if they want to, but it's going to be harder now that Alone has 6. I mean, Annihilate has his spike as well, but it's just not solid enough lockdown to keep an Ember in place, so maybe not going to be looking for too much aggression early on here for Flea, but he does make his way down mid regardless.
I mean, if anything, I feel like you need to start helping the side lanes if you're Annihilate. Maybe just kind of give up on the Ember dying. Power Rune, gonna spawn, but Remnant does get it alone. Avoids the Aether Remnant altogether. And that's gonna hurt a bit for our Void Spirit. Now an immediate smoke up. Alone, level 6, wants to move around the map with Tano. They're gonna head down bot. Because meanwhile, they have got Rises stunned up, but Rises, he's not gonna die. Just a bit too tanky on the Ursa at the moment. Monkeys will turn around for a swash. They almost get him. They might kill off Kara, and it looks like a snowball is going to fly in from Empyrean to make sure they get the kill. And while that was happening down a bot lane, Boris does manage to get himself out. Looks like he did manage to trick the side of EgoBoys into chasing an illusion instead of the real one.
Dire should look to their top tower.
Another little win there for the side of Simply TOOBASED.
Under attack.
Yeah, getting some of that aggression out early. They're trying to get a shove up top. That's exactly what we need to see. You have to try to find these towers because they're going to lose bot very soon. Benjaz already has the Necronomicon. He's got the Boars leveled up. They can just melt through these objectives quick. And it's not as fast for that top shove in. They have to kind of try to get as much as possible.
Flea getting taken down. Kara will take that kill, and now Empyrean, again, doesn't really have a way out. Monkeys Forever is going to try and help him. They're going to turn right back around with the tag team, but this could work against them. Rises now sees the opening. He'll take the Tusk, and he might even get Monkeys, as Alone has rotated on the Ember. Swashbuckle is available. He gets chained up. He's going to be just fine, though. Even Boris showing up now, trying to go after the CM. Kara going to turn around with the Frostbite. Arrow does land onto Alone, but Rise is still moving onto the PL. They get Boris. Flea will get the CM, but what does it matter? You just lost your position 1 PL. Maybe they get alone. He used all his remnants with the tag team, but the chain's out, shards there. Now it's a lot more worthwhile. As they do at least kill off the Alone Ember. It's going to make them feel a little bit better about their PL dying.
Yeah, it's compensation. It's like a small consolation prize for TOOBASED. I think you're still unhappy about losing your PL. Boris still needs to farm into that defusal. And they didn't really find a counter kill onto Rises, so your Ursa is still having fantastic time. They do secure that top tower, but they already lost their bot tower from Benjaz just solo pushing by himself. Level 2 Necronomicon's up now. Level 3 not too far off as he's been given free reign of the jungle. So once you hit that spike for Benjaz, heck, even right now, they could line up for the mid shove in, and TOOBASED have to be ready to defend. Ideally by not dragging Boris into fight. Boris just needs to farm, so they have to fight as 4. Could put them at the numbers disadvantage, but the same thing goes for Rises. He just wants to farm for his Battle Fury.
Chains out. Monkeys forever. Gonna be just fine. Crystal Nova there from Kara. They want to chase. They get the Frostbite off, but a nice chance from Empyrean. Gonna block the way. Units are still chasing. Remnant forward alone. Still not done. Sleight of Fist is gonna get the job done. And now Empyrean will also die as a Roar comes out. They found I Annihilate, but he does have 2 step charges. Alone doesn't have any remnants to use. Still 2 very nice kills there for EgoBoys. And it looks like they are about ready to start the mid-tier 1 tower push.
And it's going to be hard to hold this one off. They do have the summons coming through from Benjaz, and Necronomicon again at level 2 can rip through hard, but they're throwing the numbers up front. They are putting the bodies forward to save that objective, and this is buying space out for Boris, although he is being stalked by Tano, but not much you can do there.
Alone. He doesn't have remnants. Arrow connected. He had one out. He's gonna survive. Empyrean may not be so lucky as Kara will frostbite him up. He is gonna die to the units of Benjaz. Meanwhile, top lane Tano gonna be chased down by I Annihilate. They land the 8th remnant into an arrow and flee. Be able to get himself a kill now on the Mirana. So it is a bit of a back and forth right now, but EgoBoys are leading by 2k. And my main concern for simply TOOBASED is the fact that Rises is off the map farming the triangle. It looks like he's going to have that Battle Fury up at a pretty nice timing. And Boris, he's going for the Diffusal Blade. So not really going for any kind of farming item, but rather just going straight for the Diffusal to try and get some impact. I feel like this Ursa might be getting a bit too much.
Yeah, it's a lot better here for the side of EgoBoys when it comes down to that raw farm. You look at how Boris is, he's 900 behind Rises, and that might gap close a bit before the battlefield, but not for long, although...
Rolling Thunder is in, Snowball there, Tano looks to be dropping, perhaps not though, he's hiding right in the corner. Monkeys Forever can't connect with the Rolling Thunder, now the Roar comes in from Benjaz. And that cheeky little spot where the Rolling Thunder cannot connect. Very nice positioning there from Tano. And it's right back into the mid-tier 1.
Yeah, and this time it should fall. That's a Necronomicon level 3 summons. Really rips into these objectives early on. And that is going to clear up the map for even more aggression. Even catch out I Annihilate, but he does have his steps.
No way to cancel the TP. 4k net worth lead now created for EgoBoys. Nice little arrow, snipe on the Necro creep.
Radiant's bottom tower is in danger.
Empyrean. Gonna run it into Rises, so he gets a bit of vision on the Ursa. Rises just a few hundred gold away from finishing that Battle Fury off.
Is under attack.
And this is a very dangerous jungle for simply TOOBASED to be around at the moment. Alone.
Oh, alone.
Very confident to just run right in. He has a remnant for security. And they're into their base. They don't trust themselves up against this Ember.
Jeez. He's not letting off, and that is unfortunate. They were smoked up. It's broken by Alone. That ward Empyrean planted was immediately dewarded as well, so you just lose vision bot. And that just still opens up the map here for EgoBoys to keep farming up. Alone just constantly poking at them. This
Look at
is not the
Empyrean.
ideal.
Look at poor Empyrean. He's just getting chased down by units. He tries to shard to block and he gets roared up immediately.
It's rough. It's a hard time for the Pause 5 Tusk. Like, you didn't get your early rotations out. You don't have angles to play with right now. You want to go for solo pickoffs, but EgoBoys, for the most part, are sticking as 3 to 4. So they're being very disciplined about how far apart they are from each other. They have stalled out long enough that Boris does have this diffusal up. So he can maybe join these fights, but ideally, we need to wait for a Manta or SNY here on Boris before he fully commits. So it's still more farm to come out here for the PL. And just see which one he does prioritize. Of course, that does kind of hint Rises is already at the Battle Fury flying in. He can just easily clear out the jungle now, continue to accelerate his farm, and just build off from that. There's not much you can do to stop this Ursa unless you pick him off.
Oh, lift up. They've got monkeys. Boris is there to protect right back on the Rubik. Benjaz is still around, but doesn't have the roar up. They'll kill off Tano. A good start for TOOBASED as they go on to Kara now. Monkeys Forever with the Rolling Thunder going to try and chase him down. He'll catch out too. Remnants forward though from alone. He's trying to catch up to help out. Monkeys may have gone a bit too far. He gets the CM, but it's not really worth his own life. Still 2 supports down for the price of 1 off lane. Not really too bad here for simply TOOBASED, and considering that they are behind in net worth, I guess they are getting the better gold trade. But now the Roshan's being taken.
That's the one downside. They can't fight the Rosh, and it does melt way too fast when you've got the Beastmaster Ursa. So that's going to be the first Rosh coming out here for EgoBoys. Aegis on Rises. He can just show his face, force the fight out. TOOBASED, they're going to have Rolling Thunder for the next fight in, but they have to be careful with how they approach this.
Well, Rise is obviously going to be quite confident, but with the Diffusal Blade on Boris, he does have all his mana drained. Looks like he's had enough of this scenario. He's out of there, back to farming.
That should help.
As long as you're controlling the map, you're always going to have the net worth advantage. So I think EgoBoys, if they continue moving as 4 and not allowing TOOBASED to kind of just farm up by themselves, it's going to make it very hard for them to come back. As a Roar comes out, they're going to get the Pango. They will kill off Kara on the CM and maybe even Tano, but what's it going to cost? Empyrean dies on the task. Tano is somehow still alive. Annihilate can't actually catch him.
Oh, jeez.
He gets out with the swashbuckle.
Yeah, that's not good news, not even being able to find that Rubik. Maybe he snipes in here, annihilates in the right spot.
Oh, Astral Step not up in time. Unlucky.
Oh boy, this is... It's just not clean for TOOBASED. They're not getting enough space out. They couldn't get the aggression out for their Tusk. They were finding some pickoffs with Flea. But right now the game plan is sit back, allow Boris to farm up as much as possible. He isn't getting that much space though. They're constantly keeping watch in the bot jungle. There are some wards here from TOOBASED to avoid those ganks, but that just means they can't farm there as well. So it's a very uncomfy spot for the side of TOOBASED right now, as EgoBoys just have everything. 7k up, 9 to 14, Aegis still standing. Nothing to be scared of.
They're looking at Boris down bot. He's surrounded. Tano gets the Fade Bolt going, Swashbuckle. They've got the wrong PL, but now they know which one the right one is. They'll get the chains off. Boris has no way out. Alone will get him. A mega kill spree now for the Ember. And straight onto that tier 2 tower. Nice and easy for Benchaz with the Necro 3 units. Meanwhile, mid lane Rises is actually chasing down Monkeys Forever. Empyrean has forced the snowball in to try and help out, and they actually get a really nice arrow. But they don't even feel confident enough to follow up on it. Even if Rises is completely alone with that Aegis, they aren't confident in killing him twice. And in fact, Rises is going to jump right onto the high ground after I annihilate. He'll dissimulate away.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Snowball, Empyrean going back into the Ursa. Might be punished for this though. Aether Remnant is there. Empyrean blocks himself off. Now, I guess you have to try. But it's looking like a repeat of game 1, John. EgoBoys just looking so dominant.
They are. They've taken over the map. They're finding the farm. Their picks are just working out well. Alone just styling, although.
They get the arrow, the Aether Remnant, but can you kill him in time? The answer might just be yes. No, the Sleight of Fist. What a juke out on the Rolling Thunder. Rises about to lose his Aegis, but not quite yet. He finally goes down for the first life, but they are just going to wipe out simply TOOBASED. Only losing Tano on EgoBoys. Just so many options now for EgoBoys. Do you want the mid tower? Do you want to go farm? There's a double damage rune up top. Do you want that?
Radiant's middle tower is
Yeah,
under attack.
it's open. It's open-ended and TOOBASED. I mean, they're forced to drag Boris along for these fights, but he just gets picked off so easily. The Maelstrom procs, making it easy to figure out who's who. He can't survive long enough to get even more illusions up. And the map is just so small now for the side of TOOBASED. Like, they lost their BO2 earlier on. The top and mid are going to be targeted next. Gonna take that top tier 1 first. You can see what happens, and we talked about this a little bit in the draft. Once you expend the Remnant and the Arrow, Kara is just free to dance in the middle, and they can't even stop the freezing field. So, just not finding the answers here so far. They are grouped up, but they're under so many hawks. Like, the vision game's just on point here from EgoBoys to avoid any of these ganks.
Radiant's top tower is in danger.
Making their rotation to the Radiant jungle, but like you said, they've been scouted by Hawks. Kara gets jumped on, but Rises has already killed off Empyrean onto Annihilate. He'll dissimulate out. Monkeys Forever with the Rolling Thunder back in onto the back lines. He's going to go straight after Tano. Tano has stolen the Rolling Thunder, however. They might be able to kill him off in time, and they will. Tamor alone, Remnant forward, wants Boris on the PL. Doppel up in 2, but he's not going to get it off in time. The roar's there from Benjaz. Rises still going after Annihilate, is going to juke out the Aether Remnant. Meanwhile, Monkeys is going to try for the TP out, and he's not going to make it either. Alone just has too much damage.
I mean, they find the support kills. You mentioned it before, but at this network deficit, every kill counts. It's just that you sacrifice 2 cores for 2 supports, so it doesn't end up favorable anyway. And TOOBASED, they just can't make rotations like that without the smoke. They have to smoke in their high ground as well, so in order to get that movement out. So that's the factors they have to play with. And right now, if they climb up here, they're dead.
Oh, Empyrean. He wants to get the D wards out. He knows that's the only place they have left to farm. Unfortunately for him, he has no vision to really get up there safely. Moonlight Shadow. That's a great sentry from Kara. They're able to scout them out.
Is under attack.
That mid-tier 2 not going to last much longer. They do at least have the Aghanim Scepter on Flea, so the arrow does make it so you get a Starstorm going, but even that doesn't really seem to be helping that much. It's just so far behind.
It's just stalling out the inevitable. It's not enough time to get some actual space out. Like, ideally, this would lead to farm for Boris, but he just has no access to the jungle, no access to any side lane. He's still trying to save up for a Yasha. I mean, he's been power treads Diffusal Blade for such a long time. It's just not enough.
Top lane, they're trying to initiate. However, Annihilate again getting caught out by the Rubik. Roar out on Monkeys Forever. Rises. He'll take care of the Pango. Maybe not. Alone will instead. Annihilate gets tipped. Jumps in again. Aether Remnant. Arrow rises, pops the BKB. Gonna go back in onto Empyrean. Snowball out. Gonna try and just snowball his way out, but Boris, he's been caught by the chains.
Oh no.
Oh boy. And Ego, I mean, I'm pretty sure they feel like they've just got this in the bag. And they should feel that way, just based off how the games have gone. Rolling Thunder in. Gonna connect onto Kara. They might get the CM. Looks like they will, so not a bad start to the team fight. Monkey's gonna swashbuckle right back out. They'll just keep using up the Ursa. Eventually, EgoBoys are gonna get out of there. So just playing it safe.
Yep, no need to overextend. If you do give a couple of kills away, that could bounce back TOOBASED. They are fairly low on mana here as well, so just a bit of a reset on hand. They could look for the next Roche that is going to be up in a minute and a half. So not the fastest Roche, but not the slowest respawn as well. And securing that next Aegis should allow them to really just comfortably take the high ground here. They can't even jump the Rubik like that. Tano with a blink just dodges out, although they are still smoked up here.
I believe that was just a warding mission though with the smoke. They just need to take control of the triangle back. Whether it lasts for long or not is an entirely different story though. Alone's got a BKB up now, and that's going to be a 10-second charge.
Scanning for enemies.
Scan out is going to catch Empyrean near the Roshan pit. Roshan's going to be up in 45 seconds. It's a bit of time off. EgoBoys, they are going to start moving their way around the pit, just in case, but they'll pop a smoke in the end. And it looks like it's about time to reinvade the triangle and trying to get a big team fight going. And Monkeys Forever might be targeted, but a remnant forward from Alone right in. Raw is there as well to the back lines. Monkeys Forever already dead.
Radiant's middle
Who do they
tower is
catch?
under attack.
They kind of just split every single way here, simply two-based. Some go up, some go down. They won't
Yep,
get the team
it's,
fight they wanted, but they're going to probably get a Roshan.
Yep, it just respawns. They've got vision on it, so they should be able to secure
Oh.
that quite nicely. And wow,
What an
jeez.
astral step out from Tano.
So much value there. Still second Roche, Aegis Cheese, TOOBASED not in position to contest. And it's just going to have to go. How do you deal with 2 lives once more on Rises and the Cheese potentially coming out here for Alone if he wants it? I don't see any way of them stopping that 2 life. Maybe if you chain stun perfectly and isolate Rises somehow. That's one way to go about it, but beyond that, it's going to be difficult. And you can see the build-up here for TOOBASED. Like, Boris is just trying to queue up an Ag Shard. Like, that's the game plan now. Just try to play with Lances on the high ground defense. I don't fault him for that. Like, there's not much else the PL can do beyond just spamming illusions out. But it just leads to such a messy build-up. And the presence of the PL is just not lining up here for TOOBASED. Even I Annihilate in the Void Spirit, he's just not had that great of a game. The mid lane just got smashed by Alone.
Who have they found down at the bot lane? Alone. Annihilate gets set up with an 8th Remnant. Tano is around, gets a lift off. Flee. Not landing the arrow. Looks like they are just now going to chase down this Mirana. He'll come in, use all his leap charges, but Alone's going to catch him anyway. Chains out, will connect. Nice and easy. Flee can't even get the courier of Tano. He misses uphill.
Dire's top tower
Oh,
is
man.
under attack.
Boris trying to fight the CM. Kara has a Ghost Scepter. Van Jan's just going to hold his ground. Alone's there now. Poor old Boris. Things are going real bad when you can't kill the Crystal Maiden. Rises even gets Empyrean now on the Tusk. 3 down all across the map. 24k lead. EgoBoys, it looks like Rise is going to TP back down bot. Just finish off the full Abyssal Blade before they go high ground.
Yeah, this is giving some time to I Annihilate though. Saving up for his Ags, just about 300 off, so that's the next spike I guess for TOOBASED, but they are dropping here as left, right, and center.
Yeah, I mean, Monkey's just eyes mid lane. I Annihilate is going to get himself out. Moonlight Shadow going to be popped here, but oh, Tano, he caught him underneath the Sentry Ward. Arrow. Give vision for a second. Flea going to try for the TP. Can they stun him? No. Very nice TP there from Flea. And EgoBoys, are they really going to wait for that Abyssal to be up on Rises first? Seems like they just might.
It's not a bit too big of a deal either way. I think we do have Aegis, so I think they could just force it if they wanted to, but it's that close. You might as well wait. They've got this Atos out as well on loan, trying to save for the Gleipnir. It's going to be flying out soon, the Atos at least, so should allow for more control to isolate that PL. And they've just kept every wave shoved in, so there's no option to play with here. Still, Ags up and I Annihilate. That could be big. Could catch the side of EgoBoys off guard. They do have BKBs in their big cores, so it's not going to prevent the Ursa and the Ember Spirit from running around. Perhaps you can catch out Benjaz, if possible, prevent him from getting the roar off. Beyond that, and the supports beyond that, but the other cores are already kind of set for that kind of movement from I Annihilate.
There's your Abyssal up. Rises could just go in. Yeah, he goes right in after Monkeys. Yules, not going to save him. Tano had the Fade Bolt. Meanwhile, bot lane, looks like they did end up catching out alone. They get the Ember and I Annihilate immediately with the tip. He was waiting the whole game for that tip to be thrown out. And alone, he'll send it back.
Yeah, it's a bit keen there for alone, just being alone, although...
Jeez, I Annihilate, he got Kara, but Roar is there now from Benjaz. And he's gone. Rises now on a godlike spree. Flea gonna TP out. Tano might spot him in time. No. Didn't have the lift anyway. But now with the Abyssal, with the Aegis, I think it's high ground time. Unless Ego just want to continue this game with a 28k net worth lead and apparently 100% win probability, which has been there for approximately 3 to 4 minutes.
Gotta love Dota Plus. Can't take those words back, Dota Plus. No backsies here.
I mean, last game they were correct
really
at least.
Right? Yeah. It's on a good streak so far. EgoBoys, again, just having this massive lead, going to be hard to counteract. BKB bought out by Benjaz. So the last core that was vulnerable to that silence on I Annihilate, now going to have some protection here as well. Which means the Ags pickup is not going to be as impactful as you'd want it to be. Still, gives him some ways of playing. Boris now, oh no. Boris is trying to go Aetherlance Octarine spam.
Oh no.
Oh, Boris.
Oh, Rises gonna kill off Monkeys forever. I think Rises may have caught a glimpse of that, John, and he got very upset. Kyrian also dying down at the bot lane, and you can see the disease that is Arkosh, John, just spreading to other teams. Aether Remnant gonna connect onto Kara. They got the roar off onto I Annihilate, however, and now with the Gleipnir, it's gonna catch out more. Boris stuck up with the Aether Remnant. He's just gonna get bursted down. Buyback's flying out. They're gonna try one big team fight, but it's gonna be a 3v5 scenario. And there we go, jump right back in. They've got the PL. That'll be a dieback. That's GG. The game's going to be over now. Remnant forward and they call it. EgoBoys, they are looking extremely dominant today. My goodness.
Yep, just showing up against TOOBASED alone. Really just playing his mind out. In game 1 on his Tiny, game 2 on December, having the edge from the get-go, going for this initial level. It's on the Ember that you don't expect. Level 1 chains, level 2 sleight of fist, finding harassment, finding the angles on that Void Spirit and winning out. Again, that was a very mechanical-based mid matchup. Alone, it's just popping off, and I do believe I was taking glimpses at chat. Alone's like a 16-year-old prodigy or something. Like he's very young.
Old?
Yeah, like very young, and he is playing out of his mind, looking really good. You know, it's nice to see. TOOBASED though, they don't find that draw. So I think the only chance they have of forcing tiebreakers is finding a last series win for their last game. So gonna be tough now. EgoBoys hammering in their 3rd place spot. So they are definitely going to playoffs in really dominant fashion. Props to them. It was a really smooth game. First game and second game for them.
Is he really 16 years old?
I think so. I don't think chat would joke about that one. Like,